playing the D Dynasty. I literally have 3 videos queued. Welcome to a Crimson Garland. St. Andrew's Church, we're back in Scotland. February 2nd, year 1895. Ah, poor Oscar. Your husband always was such a sickly fellow. It's a great shame for a man to die so young. Alas, there was nothing that could be done. There was something that could have been done, Thomas. Oh, and what was that? You received my letter, I assume? Did I not beg for you to send money? Money? For what? Medicine? You think any amount of money could have cured your husband of his illness? I highly doubt it. That was not for you to determine. Now we will never know. The money could have made his final weeks more comfortable, at least. You always were soft, delicate things, sister. Death is never comfortable. Nevertheless, the money is mine by right. You should have sent it. Careful now, Margaret. All of the money you've made from the novels that I wrote, it should be mine. Perhaps you forgot your many failed attempts to have those stories published under your own name. Nobody would even read a murder mystery that was written by a woman. Were it not for me, those books never would have seen the light of day. Besides, I've always given you a fair share, have I not? A pittance. Barely enough to live on. Well, it was your husband's responsibility to provide for you. Now that you are a widow, rest assured I will duly increase your allowance. How very generous of you, brother. There's no need to be petulant. If you're going to be that way, I shall take my leave of you. When you've calmed your nerves, perhaps you will come along to visit a Downshill house. The family would love to see you. Mother is not herself. Her condition gets worse each day, and it might do her good to see your face. I'm sorry for your loss, Margaret. Please believe that. Oscar, my sweet, loving Oscar. Winter was always hard for you. Ever since you were a child. I know you never could stand the cold. This is the most unforgiving winter we have ever known. If not for my brother's selfishness, I know you would still be here with me. He might as well have killed you by his own hand. I think I shall accept my brother's invitation. It's been far too long since I last returned home to the Dunshill house. Besides, I must attend to some unfinished business. Rest well, sweet husband. Two weeks later, one story ends and another begins. Such is the way of things. The story of my husband's time on earth may have ended prematurely, but there's still certain loose threads to be cut away. And as for you, Thomas, the sordid tale of your wasteful life might also be drawing to a close. All it will take is a fitting weapon, a damning piece of evidence, and a small helping of inspiration. For tonight, brother, I will write another of my little murder mysteries, and you will play the victim. First, for the game, you should explore the house converse and collect 2 useful items. We already know this by now. Please, do come in. It's such a pleasure to finally meet you, Miss Bruce. Bruce was my maiden name. I am Miss Margaret Percy. Of course, how silly of me. I'm Ethel, your mother's nurse. I also do much of the cleaning and cooking at the moment, so please let me know if you require anything. If your family has told me about your loss, I'm so sorry about your husband. Kitty! I'm sure that your parents will be glad to see you. Your mother rarely leaves her bed these days, but you'll find your father in the parlor. Such a shame they could not attend the funeral, only their health is so frail and the frost is so terrible this year. Well, at least my brother Thomas was able to attend. Yes, I spoke to him after he returned from the funeral, and he was in a terrible mood. I suppose he and your husband must have been very close. We have eaten dinner already, but I can prepare something for you if you are hungry. Your brother Thomas has arranged some entertainment for the evening. Lady Lenora will be reading his fortune. Lady Lenora? Oh, yes. She is a highly esteemed psychic, very popular in your brother's circles, I hear. You'll find her in the drawing room. Yes, and I'm sure she's highly expensive. There's nothing my brother loves more than wasting his money. Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that. Perhaps she's not so terribly costly. Your younger brother Michael and his wife Nellie are visiting as well, with their newborn son. I don't believe you've seen your nephew yet. Such a lovely little babe in arms. Yes, I've been looking forward to meeting the little one. I'm sure you have. He's quite adorable. Anyway, I'd better finish washing the dishes. I'll be in the pantry if you need anything. Okay. I sense you are a woman on a mission. There's something that needs to be done, and you intend to do it. What? And what mission would that be? That part is unclear, but there are many paths which you might follow to achieve your goal. Oh, terribly rude of me to neglect the proper introductions. Who might you be? I'm Margaret Percy, and you are? They call me Lady Lenora, the prophetess, the living oracle for the discerning lady or gentleman of leisure. Nice to make your acquaintance. Likewise, I always like to make new friends or potential clients. I provide a great many service. In the case of your brother, he has hired me for a simple tarot reading. The mysteries of that tarot can provide a person with revelations about things that happened, and things that are yet to come. Oh, I like to keep an open mind about these things. You'd be surprised. Good. Then perhaps you will learn something as well. Now, if you will excuse me, I must center myself before reading. Okay. Raise an eyebrow as you look at the piece of writing on the desk. In some weeks, while your husband was dying, you wrote to Thomas begging for him to send money. Apparently, Thomas has started writing a reply, but I never even bothered to send it. The note reads, "Listen, sorry as I am about your situation. I'm your brother and not a bank. Stand on your own feet. I should not be sending you any money." The letter doesn't actually seem to mention your name anywhere. This might be useful evidence. Okay. Agent Death. It's me, Mother Margaret. Oh, Margaret, you look lovely. It was a lovely service, wasn't it? I'm so glad I could attend. Service? There are lots of people here, aren't there? Your dear husband had so many friends. Yes, Mother. Oscar was very popular. Yes, I always liked him. Never mind all that silliness over your engagement. Best to just forget about it, Was there something else, dear? You should get some rest, Mother. Oh, Miss Percy, is there something you need? Thomas is the person I'm killing. Lady Lenore is the psychic. There's both Bruces, which is Mother Nellie. Oh no, Mother and Father. And the Bruces are the younger brother and mother-in-law. How's my brother Thomas been lately? Thomas, he mostly keeps to himself. When he's here, most evenings he isn't around. Apart from that, I don't know what to say. Seems that you don't want to talk about him. Oh, I don't mean to be rude. It's just that I'm not used to receiving attention from men. It's flattering, of course, but it just makes me feel so awkward. My brother has taken a liking to you, then. Yes, it seems that way. I mean, I suppose he's charming enough, but please, let's talk about something else. Nothing about Mother is gonna help me in this situation. What do you think of Lady Lenora? There's something strange about her, isn't there? I'm not saying I believe in all of this mystical fortune-telling business. I was raised to believe in Jesus Christ. But I do wonder about her. What do you find strange about her exactly? Her behavior? Now that you mention it, she has been acting a little odd since she arrived in the house. First, she insisted that she must see every single room in the house so that she could commune with any resident spirits. When she had finished, she asked if there were any pictures of Thomas around. When I gave her one, she spent some time staring at it, mumbling under her breath. She sends shivers down my spine, that woman. I don't think I'm going to blame anything on my dad either, so... Michael Bruce, Nellie Bruce. And then... I don't know. These people feel extremely... Looks like your brother and his wife have not got around to unpacking the belongings yet. Margaret, is that you? Good evening, Nellie. It's been so long since I last saw you that I barely recognized your face. That's such a lovely morning dress, you poor thing. I pray that you never live to experience such loss as I have. Oh dear, I'm sorry, Margaret, truly I am. This all seems to have taken its toll on you, but don't worry, things will get better. Just as one life ends, another begins. And here's your nephew, little Malcolm. A beautiful boy, isn't he? Are you coping all right with him? He doesn't look much like his father. He doesn't look very much like Michael. Margaret, what a thing to say. Well, it's true. Even so, you shouldn't... Oh, never mind. I'm sure you didn't mean anything by it. We're trying to be more forgiving lately, not to fall out over silly little things. Being a mother has made me realize a lot of things, mostly that what is truly important are the people closest to you. I pray only one thing for little Malcolm, Margaret, that he grows up to understand the importance of family. Yes, that would be a very good lesson for him to learn. Good, I'm so glad you agree. Something else on your mind, Margaret? How do you feel about Thomas? Have you spoken with my brother Thomas much lately? Sadly, not. Hopefully I will be able to catch up with him later this evening. Interesting. Have you met Nurse Ethel? Yes, quite a straight, mousy little girl, isn't she? Asked her how she was getting along here at the house. She seems to enjoy caring for your mother, but I'm not sure she feels the same about the rest of your family. Did she mention my brother? That's what I was referring to, actually. When I tried to ask her about him, she became very quiet and reluctant to say a word, almost like she was frightened to do so. Very strange indeed. Why? Why is the nurse so reluctant to talk about Thomas? What do you know about Lady Lenora? Not much apart from your brothers have told me about her. They both seem to be rather looking forward to this reading of hers. I'm not so sure. These things make me a little uneasy. Where did Thomas find this woman? Apparently, she found him. They met in one of those establishments he likes to frequent in town. I suppose Thomas has the look of someone who is interesting in those sort of thing. Or as she'd have you believe, perhaps it was fate. I'm not talking about Mom or Dad. I'll talk about Mom, only to catch up. Have you been to see my mother? Yes, that poor woman. I'm afraid she mistook me for someone else. However, I do think her condition has improved since the last time I saw her. Small blessings. Who did she mistake you for? Oh, just some childhood friend of hers. She wanted to chat with me about all the handsome young men in town where she grew up. At least, I suppose they used to be handsome, the way she remembers them. It was nice to see her smiling. Yep. I should probably talk to you about your husband, considering is your husband. How is your husband? Michael is as well as can be expected. What with the new baby and all the pressure of life. Pressures of life, you say? Well, I suppose I can tell you. He lost his job at the bank. Business has been terrible for everyone thanks to this awful winter we've been having. Ooh. But he just had a kid. And we know, even though he lost his job at the bank, that doesn't... Oh my god. This one sucks the most. Like the first two, most people were bad. But like, mom and dad are just doing their own thing. Mom's sick, so dad has to take care of mom. And then Nurse Ethel's also here to take care of mom. Nurse Ethel has this weird thing with Thomas. Something with the nurse and Thomas ain't right. And then the younger sibling and his wife they're just here to visit mom, which it's drinking alone again, Michael. If there's a better way to drink, I haven't found it yet. How are you, sister? My life has been destroyed. What kind of question is that to ask a widow? What do you think? Yes, I suppose you're right. My mistake. I'm terribly sorry about Oscar. You know I always liked them. We'd have liked to come to the funeral. You know how things are with a new child. Yeah, like, that's perfectly understandable. You worry too much, Michael. I'm not offended. You know I've never been any good at saying the right thing at times like these. What do you want to talk about? How do you feel about my brother? How do you feel about our brother? Funny you should ask. He's been up to some interesting things around town. You've been snooping again, haven't you, Michael? Not at all. I just happened to go for a leisurely stroll in town this afternoon. I just happened to speak to the pastor and the baker. Go on then, what did the pastor say? Well, now this is really interesting. Thomas has gone and bought a plot for himself in the local graveyard. Talk about planning ahead, eh? But Father suggested it to him. Yes, Father does like to think towards the future. Now I want to know what the baker said. Why would he... What? Do you know anything about this new nurse they've hired for Mother? Of course, I make it my business to know things about people. Quite a look, isn't she? If I wasn't married. Michael, please. All right. All I know is that she's done some work abroad and then she worked at the Royal Edinburgh Hospital. What work did she do abroad? She worked at a hospital in one of the colonies. Where was it? Dominica? Sierra Leone? They're also samey. They're on opposite sides of the Atlantic, brother. Yes, whatever. The point is that she was involved with aid work over there for several years. Must have been a darn sight more exciting than caring for our ailing mother at any rate. Oh, that's not Lady Lenora, that's the nurse. She's mousy. This is 1865. Okay. I don't know what interesting happened in 1865. Whatever. How about Lady Lenore? What do you know about the Lady Lenore? Strangely enough, I've never heard of her before this evening. I'm quite curious to see what might happen at this card reading, though. Interesting. The guy who who whose entire ideal is to know things about people, which is probably why he worked at a bank, doesn't know anything about Lady Lenora. And your wife. And mother. How's your wife? She's had a rough month or so since the baby was born. This winter hasn't helped much. Still, I suppose there are many less fortunate than ourselves. Yes, let us not forget that. Why has this month been rough? Is she unwell? Yes, let's not forget that. You mean she is unwell? No, she's perfectly happy. She is perfectly healthy and happy, thank goodness. It took some time, but she's finally managed to make a connection with the child. In fact, I've rarely seen her happier. Have you spoken to Mother? Spoken to her? Certainly. It's not quite the same as having a conversation, though, is it? She said something interesting the last time I was here. It had to do with fire. It made me rather curious. Did you learn what she was talking about? Well, from what I gathered, she was under the impression that there was a fire in the house. She cried about losing her family. Only, there's never been a fire in this house. It's nonsense, then. It means nothing. Not necessarily. Mother has been remembering a lot of things from her childhood lately. Why do you think it is that Father has never spoken about his side of the family? Why we've never met any of them? You think her family perished in a fire? Yes, and perhaps she was the only survivor. An interesting theory, don't you think? Oh my god. Mom goes crazy, gets taken to a psych ward. We use her scissors as well. Oh, that's horrible. Ugh, it's horrible. Margaret, it's good to see you. Hello, Father. How are you? How am I? Where to begin? My wife is slowly going insane. My eldest son, Thomas, wastes both his time and his money on carnival performers. And to make matters worse, now I have to contend with that spineless crybaby Michael and his brainless ninny of a wife. Have you no affection? Don't you care for any of your children, Father? Of course I do. I've been unlucky with the boys, that's all. They're both useless, that pair of them. You, though. You're the one who always made me proud. Now that you're here, Margaret, I must offer my condolences for the loss of your husband. Oscar was not a bad fellow, I suppose. He didn't have to die. All he needed was a little more support from this family. If you had married more sensibly, Margaret, then your husband might have been able to rely on his own means. There's no use blaming anyone else for what happened. As I said, you have my sympathy. We would have attended the funeral if it were possible. My health and your mother's condition did not seem judicious. It's okay, Father. I understand. You're a good girl, Margaret. Life has dealt you an unfair hand, but you will find your feet again soon enough. So, what else do you want? How's brother? Same as he always was, a man of very little substance. The nurse, what do you think of Mother's new nurse? Now that has turned out to be a surprisingly good decision. Your mother is still a few sandwiches short of a picnic, but her condition has improved quite significantly since the arrival of the new nurse. She's a brave woman, a very brave woman. Surely there must be something you don't like about this nurse. And why is that? Because I'm such a grouchy old man? No, she's a good woman, and I won't say a word against her. You're interesting. Have you met Lady Lenora? I saw her in the foyer. That witch can stay away from me. I recognize the symbol on her jewelry. She associates with the Order of the Sacred Quest. Sounds like one of your Freemason lodges. Hardly. No lodge will ever admit a woman. That silly little group of theirs can keep their filthy practices to themselves. What filthy practices would those be? Oh, there are plenty of rumors. Once you start allowing women to attend mystical gatherings, you never know what can happen. Orgies, blood magic, you name it. Yeesh. Ooh. I don't think asking about neither little brother nor little brother's wife will change anything. How's mother? Why don't you go and see for yourself rather than bothering your father about it? Okay. Yep, should have expected that one. Is this Dad's pistol, or is this one of your father's most treasured dueling pistol owned by one of your illustrious ancestors? Years ago, you learned that your father likes to keep the pistol loaded in case of burglars after your brothers were severely scolded for playing with it. Pistol small enough to see. Yeah. I figured as much. Hello, brother. Well, you came. You sound surprised, Thomas. You seem rather upset with me at the funeral. Perhaps you come to your senses now. Let's just say that I can see things from your perspective now. That's good. I knew you'd come around sooner or later. I see that you're still in mourning. Isn't it about time you took off that depressing veil? You aren't getting any younger, you know. But I suppose there's still time for you to remarry. You must think about your future. I'll remove this veil when I'm ready, Thomas. But don't take too long about it. That's all I'm saying. Have you been up to see Mother yet? I'm afraid her condition has not improved much. Many of the Bruce women have gone mad, you know. It's like some kind of curse. You're lucky to have escaped it thus far. Oh, but it's dementia. If it were up to me, she would be committed. That would snap her out of it soon enough. I'm not sure about that, Thomas. She's our mother, and she should stay at home. One cannot be too sentimental. I certainly think it would do her some good. Anyway, you should get settled in. There'll be some entertainment later. I've hired a lady to read my fortune. It's rather exciting. Who knows what might be revealed. Michael and Nellie have taken the guest room. I trust one of the basement rooms will suffice for your needs. What if I blame the nurse? What if I pit the nurse? What if I put the crazy letter inside the nurse's room? These are it. Take the lid out of your so I see the time this is dumped. Yes. Take the phone. What an interesting bell. Those chimes must mean the Lady Lenore is preparing to give her reading. This should be interesting. Are we going to be eating in the meantime? Hail to the Gnaw! The time has come for us to begin. The first card will reveal something significant about your past. It could be your recent past or something distant, almost forgotten. Let us see what the deck holds. The Lovers. Well, how about that? Have you been holding out on us, brother? Got a secret filly hidden away? This card can indeed signify a relationship. It can also simply represent a choice you've made, or perhaps a little bit of both. I wonder. I suppose it could refer to something about my mother and father. Have you recently made a choice regarding mother? This man looks more like my husband, Oscar. One of those women looks like Nurse Ethel, I think. I see. Yes. Two of those people do look like mother and father. It's the choice you made about our mother, Thomas. Well, not much of a choice, really. We all know she would be better off in an institution. Not all of us believe that, Thomas. And good luck convincing father to agree to it. You would say that, Michael. You little mother's boy. Let us continue with the reading. Your second card, which represents your present, is the Fool. Ha! How very appropriate. On the contrary, the Fool is often interpreted in a more positive light. It can signify a new beginning or imminent prosperity. However, it can also mean that you are failing to see some danger that is right in front of you. You are right in front of him, Lenora. Looks like father, looks like Michael. Looks like father, looks like Michael, looks like Tom. Looks like you, Thomas. The fool does look a lot like you, Thomas. Yes, very amusing. Next card, please. Now it's time to reveal the third and final card. It's gonna be death. It's gonna be death. It had better not be the death, I tell you that much. Your final card is justice. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. It usually isn't. It simply represents fairness and balance, the notion that all shall receive what they deserve. Is that so? Perhaps it means that I shall finally get another novel published, eh, Margaret? Yes, that's the spirit, Thomas. You might be right. That brings the reading to an end. I hope that the cards have been revelatory. Thank you so much, Lady Lenore. I've never seen anything quite like that before. Well, that was exhausting. I could use some wine. I second that motion. Now the reading's finished, the time has come to do what you came here to do. Any evidence you gather must be planted now before you seek out your unfortunate victim. To plant it, yeah, I know that. So we're gonna put this in. Thomas seems to be struggling to open a particular stubborn bottle of wine. He's not heard you descend the stairs. I wonder if this will go correctly. Okay, and then we need to go to Mother. Is anybody with Mother? Because Mother's word is not enough. It's not a good idea if Mother's the only one in her room. Which is this room? Nobody's with Mother. Okay. Alright, I guess I'll just stick to the hallway then. Who are you? Who's gonna give me my buys? Your sister-in-law seems to be quite transfixed by this portrait of your ancestors. Probably best not to disturb her. Okay. What was in her... Hold on. You don't have time to search the house earlier. You should have done so. Okay. Then we're gonna go visit our mother-in-law. So quickly as you approach your older brother Thomas from behind, brandishing the meek lever in one hand. When you're close enough, you raise it high above your head. And beating it deadly down with such a force that it cleaves deeply into the back of his skull. Not a sound emerges from it, but the thick red blood seeps down through his hair. Finally, Thomas collapses to the floor in a messy heap. His body twitches a few times before it becomes it's time for you to get far away from here. 18 seconds. There we go. And time. What was that? I'm not sure. I suppose we ought to go and find out. Oh, Michael, it's all just so terrible. I know, my darling, but don't you worry. The police are here, and they will soon find and arrest the ruffian who broke in and killed my brother. Oh, someone broke in, did they? It's a good thing we have an accomplished detective such as yourself in the family. Of course someone broke in, Father. What else could have happened? Thomas may have been with my son and heir. But he was also a pompous little idiot. Please, don't. There are many people who thought little of him, and some of them are right here in this room. No, I won't accept that. One ought not speak ill of the dead. I'll speak however I please about my own son, you tardy little. All right, my men are just finishing the search of the house. If there's any evidence that points towards what happened here, we'll find it. I will need to speak to everyone who was present at the time of the murder. Even my wife. You'd get more sense speaking to a doornail, Inspector. Yes, I do mean everyone. Lady Lenore, I'd like to speak to you first of all. Yes, Inspector. Thank you for joining me, Mrs. Percy. I understand that must be an emotional time, but it is best to take witness statements while they are fresh in the memory. Of course, Inspector. I'll apologize for this in advance, but I'm afraid that the first thing I need to do is search your person. Oh, we're no longer being questioned together. We're being questioned separately. That's great! Rest assured, my hands will not linger anywhere they shouldn't. That's actually really smart detective work. Now then, please have a seat, Miss Percy. Because if anyone's stories don't line up, then you're cooked. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I might. I'm very sorry to hear that you lost your husband recently and see from your attire that you're still in mourning. How well would you say you've been coping with this passing? I'm sure I'll be fine eventually. I will not lie and say that it has been difficult, however, I'm sure I will recover. Yes, it will be all right in the end, I'm sure. According to my notes, your brother Michael also inquired about your well-being when he spoke to him earlier this evening. He immediately became quite angry, which I suppose answers the question itself. Here's what I'm getting at. You must be honest with me, Miss Ferguson, because he's like that will not work in your favor. Let's move on. To lose both a husband and brother so quickly must be quite a shock for you. I hope at least that the rest of your family will support you through these difficult times. Would you say your family is quite important to you? Yes, my family is very precious to me. I see, thank you. I understand that Thomas was the only other family member to attend your husband's funeral. Your parents were unable to attend. Yes, that's correct. When telling me about your conversation with her, Nurse Ethel made an observation about Thomas here after the funeral. She said he seemed to be in particularly bad mood when he returned. Makes me wonder what might have happened there. When you spoke to your fathers this evening, you said that you understood the reasons why you could not attend the funeral. I assume you had forgiven them for not being in attendance. Tell me this. Do you hold anyone in your family responsible for your husband's death? Why would you ask that, Inspector? Just a comment. There's a lot of talking in this one. Just a comment you made to your father. That's all. Perhaps it was nothing. Now I need to go over some of my notes with you. What I'm looking for specifically are any clues of inconsistency. I want to form a picture of the events surrounding your brother's death. When you arrived at the house, Nurse Ethel introduced herself and told you about the planned entertainment for the evening. Apparently you expressed some concern about your brother's wasting money, which I find quite interesting. Just makes me wonder why you would be interested in his financial affairs. What? If somebody drops in modern day time, let alone anything else, if somebody buys a fortune teller to something you can figure out and do on your own, yeah, that's a little questionable. Whatever. She then informed you that your brother Michael and his wife were visiting with their infant son. So far, so good. You told her you were looking forward to meeting your new nephew for the first time. Nurse Ethel also mentioned to me that she saw you again in the pantry later, and she could find that Thomas had been showing some interest in her. She didn't necessarily mind his intention. It seems to me that your brother must have been in a fairly healthy state of mind in pursuing a new romantic partner. You spoke about Lady Lenore and her arrival at the first house. You spoke about the Lady Lenore. We're talking to Nurse Ethel. She demanded to see every room in the house. Is there anything? Neither of these decisions. You see, it seems Lenore wanted to see every room in the house for some reason. Perhaps she needed to learn the layout of the place if she was planning something. Later, you went to speak to your father in the parlor. It seems that you had to listen to him complain about the current state of your family. He gave you quite an earful as well. You accused him of not caring about his children. He cared about me, but not my... I suppose he cared about me. He never cared much about either my brothers. Yes, that may be true. You also spoke with him about your mother's new nurse. Specifically, you want to know if there was anything you didn't like about her or not. Why would you ask a thing like that, I wonder? Spoke about Lady Lenore, of whom your father is less than fond. He said she's part of some group he doesn't feel kindly about. He said they practice blood magic. He said they indulge in orgies. He doesn't feel... Well, that's my father for you, indeed. Lady Eleanor, she spoke to you before the reading. She made a particular observation about you. She was on a mission. You did not deny it, but questioned her about what the mission might be. She couldn't come up with an answer. That was your mission. My mission was finally to meet my nephew, little Malcolm. Well, you did accomplish that. Finally, she said that she sensed that you were skeptical and suggested that you perhaps would change your mind. You said that perhaps you weren't quite as skeptical as she assumed. You also spoke with your younger brother, Michael, down in the wine cellar. He told me that he rather clumsily brought up the subject of having a new child without having thought about your recent loss. However, you did not seem to be offended. He said that you spoke with him about Thomas, that you'd been asking around town about him. He said that he spoken to the local priest who mentioned Thomas had brought up a plot. Really, that was quite unusual for someone as young as he is. I wonder, you also spoke about your mother's nurse. Michael told me about the aid work she's done abroad. She seemed like remarkable. He asked about him when your sister-in-law was going on with a new baby. He said he'd really seen her happier than she is at the moment. I suppose that is worth noting. Finally, spoke about your mother and her illness. He mentioned that she had said something quite interesting to him. He mentioned something about losing her family in a fire. If it was true, it would explain certain things about why we never met her close relatives. Interesting. I think that is certainly what they're looking into. If her condition goes back further than anyone previously thought, it's possible she even could have set that fire herself. Now, your mother is not the most reliable witness, but she said she had just taken her medication, was reasonably lucid when I spoke to her. I recall seeing you, apparently she believes herself to be attending your late husband's funeral. I suppose your manner of dress must have confused her. It seems that you chose to play along with her, which might have been the right thing to do. Your sister-in-law mentioned that you came to see her and the baby in the guest room. She said that she took the time to sympathize with you regarding the loss of your husband. Apparently you prayed that she never would experience such loss. She told me that you seemed quite upset over it. Little wonder you'd responded much the same when Michael asked how you were. Nellie also introduced you to your new nephew. Apparently you commented that he didn't resemble his father much. Well, it's true, he doesn't. Even so, there are some things that is not applied to point out. Nellie also said that the two of you spoke about Nurse Ethel and her relationship with Thomas. She said she mentioned that Nurse Ethel almost seemed frightened of Thomas at times. She did say something along those lines to me as well. Very interesting. He also asked her about Lady Lenore, I understand. She said Thomas found her at one of his clubs. Is that so? If it's true, then it's possible Lady Lenore sought Thomas out and not the other way around. That opens up some interesting possibilities, to say the least. You inquired about the well-being of her husband as well, so she says. She said he had lost his job. She mentioned that he recently lost his job. Is that so? She mentioned that to me. That could be important information about him. Finally, you asked about your mother. Nellie said she's... Ooh! She didn't tell the detective that he had just lost his job. I don't want to blame my brother, my little brother, which doesn't exactly sound like appearance of a dangerous lunatic. Now, do you speak to your brother Thomas this evening before the tarot reading? Yes, I did. What was your main topic of this conversation? We spoke about my lady. You noticed I was still in the morning, so we spoke about my lady. I see. Quite interested to find out what happened at the reading with Lady Lenore. Do you believe in fortune-telling, Inspector? You don't seem like the sort. No, not necessarily. I'm more interested in the way that Thomas himself interpreted the cards, and there are several witnesses. The first card, the Lovers, was interpreted to have something to do with your parents. Your father would know she would not have been happy. Michael disagreed with him on that. Yes, I imagine if she had found out about it. Yes, suppose a woman in her condition might have even reacted violently. The second card was the Fool, which you probably suggested look very much like Thomas himself. He didn't like that. My brother never had much of a sense of humor, Inspector. No, it doesn't seem like he did. The final card was meant to reveal something about his future. Since he terminated in quite a positive way, I think it makes it less likely that he took his own life immediately afterwards. It reinforces the idea that he was murdered. As I mentioned earlier, my men have conducted a very... So there's no way to blame the death on himself, because he saw it as a good thing. Down in the basement where Nurse Ethel sleeps, we found a bottle of perfume that your brother had apparently bought her as a gift. The fact that he was courting her does not alone make her suspect. They were both young, unmarried people after all. We found something Nurse Ethel inside her writing desk. It is a poem which seems to be written by a disturbed and violent woman. She does not strike me as anything but a nice girl and claims to know things, but I'm not sure what to make of it.
Meat Cleaver came from the kitchen. It's in Earth as it does most of the cooking in the household. However, I also know that you spoke to Nurse Ethel in the pantry earlier, so you may have been in the kitchen as well. Moving on. I've also been trying to ascertain everyone's location at the time of your brother's death. Tell me, where were you? It was upstairs. Is it called the landing? Yeah, it would be called the landing. I was upstairs on the landing. Yes, your sister-in-law told me that you were up there with her. Very good. So, Miss Percy, I've learned quite a lot of very interesting information this morning. My courage has been particularly aligning. Is not good news, I'm afraid. Although your mother's nurse was the first one on the scene, I believe she's a serious background. So you just made a couple of years for you, mother. Regard her as nothing more than a poor. Unfortunately, she cannot die less than her can now. Must descend to bows. Finally, Miss Percy, I'm placing you under arrest with the murder of your brother Thomas Bruce. I advise you come quietly. Okay, which I expected. I don't. If you learn anything from these pages, let it be that. Nurse Ethel is not... It has to be Mom. It has to be Mom. Oh, Christ. It's such a shame they can... Lady Larry, she's... Well, that ought to be rather entertaining. Yes, I hope so. It's not my sort of thing, but it'll be interesting to observe your young brother Michael and his wife Nellie are visiting as well, their newborn son. I don't believe you have seen your nephew yet. Such a lovely little babe in arms. Alright, cool. You step inside the library. Hey, pal. Buddy old pal. Perhaps there's another side to this argument. I'm not ready yet. I don't know if she is our mother. I'm not sure about Thomas. She's our mother, and one cannot be too sentimental. Hello, father. I'm sorry, father, I should have asked. Yes, well, you always were the good one. Now that you're here, Margaret, I must offer my condolences. He was a good man. Yes, Oscar was good. We would have intended if it were possible. I understand. It's a great fellow. You're a good girl. Mother. How's mother? Why don't you go see her for yourself? Yeah, fair enough. End conversation. We're not going upstairs yet. Mother. So you've been hired to care for my mother. How is she? I worry about her. They tell me her condition has been improving, but she's still very sick and troubled. I'm not sure which is worst. What are her days like? What happens at night? What happens at night? Why are her nights so bad? Because she often sleeps during the day. Her nights can be quite restless. Earlier this week, I caught her wandering around the downstairs a minute with a kitchen knife in her hand. She thought it was her wedding day, and she was preparing to cut the cake. My. How's my brother Thomas been lately? Thomas, he's mostly keeps to himself when he's here. Most evenings he isn't. Apart from that, I don't know what to say. Never mind then. Let's not talk about him. I don't really care about the rest. I don't really care. Hello, Lady Lenora. It's good to talk to everybody, though. I sense that you're a woman on a mission. My word, how'd you know? It's a gift, my dear. Do not, I swear, and at times it's more of a burden than anything else. It can be helpful to others, though. How terribly rude of me to neglect her. Sure, though. Margaret Percy. We already know this. I'm pleasure to meet you. you might be right. We'll see. It's not. I'm not as skeptical as you think. You're a fraud, plain and simple. I very much doubt that. You might be right. We'll see. You can already sense that you are skeptical. Perhaps by the end of the evening, not as skeptical as you. Keep an open mind. We're gonna talk to little brother. Hi, little brother. Drinking alone there, Michael. Fine. I'm doing quite well. Really, I'm surprised. I'm terribly sorry about Oscar. You know, I always liked him. I like to come to you, but you know the things in your child. Don't worry about it. True subject. Mother. Have you spoken to mother? Spoken to her, certainly. You know what she meant. Thomas Bruce. Have you been snooping again? What did the baker say? Thomas has ordered a special birthday cake. Only, as you know, nobody in our family has a birthday coming up. But something tells me you know who does. A little bird is telling me the cake is meant for mother's new nurse. Seems Thomas is sweet on her, eh? That didn't tell me anything. That told me nothing. There doesn't... I don't see the connection between Thomas and Ethel unless there's something bad happening that I just don't understand. Unless the advances are just that unwarranted. I don't see it. But everyone I talk to, including Nurse Ethel, does not seem to point to she actually doesn't like these advances. It's just awkward. Which we're going to take this poem. Sorry. I'll get that out of the way for you guys. Then we'll go upstairs. Hello, Mother. It is me, Margaret. Oh, Margaret, you look lovely. It was lovely service. There are lots of people here, aren't there, dear husbands? Yes, Mother. Oscar was very popular. It's always like, never mind, best to just forget about it, huh? Something else, dear. How's Thomas? Have you spoken to Thomas recently, Mother? Thomas, oh Thomas, why do you come to my... Thomas, oh Thomas, why do you come to my visit? It's me, Thomas, need help. Life has become so hard for me. I don't know if I can possibly bear it for much longer. There, my sweet. But thing would be better if you just smile and let the troubles fade away. It's what I've always done. That didn't... Is Ethel treating you? I know, so I would like a spot of tea, dear. Thank you. So everyone... Lady Lenora? Have you met the Lady Lenora? No, but it is a pleasure to meet you. Sorry, I'm so underdressed. This doesn't tell me anything, man. This doesn't tell me a thing. Nellie, have you spoken to Nellie recently, Mother? Ah, Nellie, there you are. I've been hoping to speak with you. You've always been a good girl. Any man in town would be glad to have you as a wife. You, young lady, have a certain choice to make. What choices? Do you mean your son, Michael? I've decided. No, my dear sweet Nellie. You see, both of my sons are quite infatuated with you. Ooh! Ooh! Thomas confided to me that he has adored you ever since you were both children, you see. However, they are both fine young lads. Which one of them you will marry is up to you. Not every choice. Not every lady has such a choice, you know. Interesting, Thomas was in love with Nellie as well. I'm sorry, dear, I've lost my train of thought. Nothing, Mother, nothing, Mother. You're getting sent to an insane asylum, Mother. Christ. It's the 1895 insane asylum. It's kind of horrible. Margaret, is that you? Good evening, Nellie. It's been so long. Such a lovely morning dress, you poor thing. Thank you for your concern. I pray that you've never experienced such loss. I pray that you never experienced such loss. There's one life being in this news. You're not feeling like beautiful boy, isn't he? Yes, he is. Are you coping alright with him? Yes, he is. Yes, beautiful. Being a mother's main reason. Oh, so this is like, yeah. Yeah, this happened. This family's messed up. This family's a little tweaking. Family is the most important thing. Yes, that would be a very good lesson for him to learn. Good, I'm so glad you agree. Something else in your mind, Margaret. Yes. What about mother? Have you been seeing Mama? Yes, that poor woman. I've heard she mistook me for someone else. However, I do think her condition has improved since the last time I saw her. Small blessings. How? Why? What was she like the last time you saw her? I suppose I just caught her at a bad time. This was some months ago. When I entered the room, she began screaming hysterically and throwing herself around with some violence. Whoever she thought I was, she swore could not be here. It took both of your brothers to restrain her that way. Anyway, that was when they decided to hire the Dudars. Alright, it's good to talk about. It's good to hear. Alright, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Let's go pick up the scissors from Mother. Thank you for your scissors. Take the scissors. And let's go yap. Let's go yap for a while. Like, we have to intrude. It's no longer giving us the choice to intrude or not. We have to make a choice. I think we have to. Yeah, we have to. Not much of a choice. You would say that. Let's continue with the reading. How much variable in the country of the fool. Looks like you, Thomas. I don't think this does anything to me. The justice card. Is that so? Do you think that's likely you? Not unless I write it for you. Yes, that could be it. That's the spirit. Thomas? Okay. Now, we begin. Now we go kill brother. Again. Scissors. This is above your head as you slowly walk towards your brother. Your presence unnoticed. Finally, the time has come for your rest. Thomas cries out in agony for this time. He jabs scissors into his back. He proceeds down again and again until he finally falls silent, slumps to the ground. Certainly you would have heard the commotion. You drop scissors at your feet. Prefer to leave the room and hastily. 9 seconds. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Bingo. And we have an alibi. Nurse Ethel screams. What was that? I'm not sure. I suppose we ought to go and find out. And everyone yammers in the private study. Hello, detective. And it's our turn. I'm sure my hands were no longer. Really shouldn't. Now then, please have a seat, Miss Percy. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm very sorry to hear that you lost. I see that you're tired still more. How would you say you've been coping? I think I am quite. My life has not been easy, Inspector. I know how to cope with these different. I see. According to my notes here, Brother Michael's inquired your well-being when you spoke to him earlier this year. You told him you felt you were doing quite well, understanding much the same as you just told me. That's good. To lose both a husband and brother so quickly must be shocking. However, at least the rest of your family will support you through these difficult times. Yes, my family is very. Thank you. I understand Thomas was the only other family member to attend your husband's funeral. Your parents were unable to attend. Yes, that's correct. When telling me the question, Thomas speed of you. You spoke to your father this evening. You said that you understood the reasons why you could not attend your funeral. I assume that you would not, you'd forgiven them for not being in attendance. Now I need to go over some of my notes with you. What I'm looking for specifically includes inconsistencies. When you arrived at the house, Nurse Ethel introduced herself and told you about the planning of it. She then informed me that your brother Michael and his wife were visiting in there. She told her you were looking forward to meeting your nephew for the first time. Nurse Ethel mentioned that she saw you again in the pantry later, and that you inquired about your mother's condition recently. Ethel said she caught her with a knife. She just said your mother walking around the house with a knife late at night. Is that so? That sounds like a rather dangerous. I'll have to ask the nurse about And we're already started. Seems that you've quite listened to him quiet and complain about the current state he gave you quite a year. He told me that you sympathized with him. Lady Nora mentioned that he spoke with you before the reading. She made a particular observation about you, that you seemed like a woman who was on a mission. Apparently you felt the observation quite accurate. What mission are you referring to? To finally meet my nephew. My wish was finally meet my nephew. Well, you didn't come. Finally, she said she sensed you were skeptical and said you perhaps you changed your mind. He said that perhaps you were quite skeptical. She assumed you spoke with your younger brother. However, you did not seem to be offended. He said you spoke with Thomas. Finally, you spoke about your mother and her illness. He mentioned that she had said something quite interesting to him. He thinks her family perished in a fire. Your mother's not the most right. I suppose your manner of dress must have confused her. It seems you chose to play along. She seemed to recall it with Thomas as well, though it was quite unclear whether it actually happened. She said he was distressed, almost suicidal. She said that he seemed to be in a state of some distress, almost suicidal. Doesn't sound like... No, that doesn't sound like Thomas to me. I see. I expect she imagined it then. She recalled a conversation with Nellie as well, but it sounded like it had taken place years ago. Gathered from what she said that Thomas might have been infatuated with Nellie at some point. Do you think this is a possibility? I gathered from what she said that Thomas might have been infatuated with Nellie at some point. Do you think that's a possibility? I have no opinion on the matter. I really don't have an opinion. Well, I will assume that it was just an invention of your mother's sick mind then. Your sister-in-law mentioned that you came in to see her and the baby in the guest room. She says that she took the time to sympathize with you regarding the loss of your husband. Apparently you prayed she would never have experienced such loss. She told me that you seemed quite upset over it. Do you respond quite differently when your brother... Oh, I'm sorry. What? I hope... Oh, I'm so sorry you lost your husband. I hope you don't have to go through the same thing. Man, you seem sad. Well, yes, I still am. I'm trying my best. Ellie also introduced you to your new nephew, who you said was quite beautiful. Finally, you asked about your mother and how she was getting on. She mentioned you had violent fits. Really, violent, you say? Interesting. How did you speak to your brother Thomas before the tarot reading? Did you speak to your brother Thomas before? Yes. Yes, I did. What was your main topic? Late husband. That reading with Lady Lenora, I believe in fortune telling, don't seem unnecessarily more interested in what that Thomas interpreted. The first card, lovers interpreted something with parents. She would not have been happy about that. The Fool, he doesn't like humor, and he termed in a positive way, and reinforces that he got murdered. As I mentioned earlier, counting her does not alone make her a suspect. They were both young and married. We found something inside the desk of your parents' room. This poem, which seems you were invited for your mother. I assume if she is capable of things portrayed in this poem, well, I must regard her as a suspect. We didn't find anything else of particular. Many of your brother's deaths also a matter of importance. Your father and devices that were used in the attack as belonging to your mother, though I suppose anyone could have taken them from her room. Moving on. I've also been trying to ascertain everyone's location this time of year. Tell me where you were. Upstairs. The landing. I was upstairs on the landing. Yes, your sister-in-law told me you were up there with her. Very good. So, Miss Percy, I've learned quite a lot of very interesting information this evening, although there are some suspicious circumstances involved. There's not much evidence to just foul play on your part. Yay! I do wonder about them other years. It would be a tragedy if it's true. Your mother will need to be taken to a trial, I fear. And what about me, Inspector? You are free to go. I will need to take down your address in case I have further questions, so of course I'll be glad to assist. Sorry, Mother. Some weeks later. We're standing over the grave, aren't we? No, writing the book. Chapter 15, A Woman's Scorn. So this brings us to the final chapter of this true story. Doubtless you feel some relief at reaching the end. The poor, the sick, the criminally insane, these are the faceless specters haunting our society. If we try to forget them, they will bare their teeth and then remind us of their existence in the most violent way imaginable. I have witnessed the treatment of my poor, sick mother at the hands of the asylum, along with countless other unfortunate women. She does not deserve this for her crime. That crime was not her fault, for as you've read, she had little agency over her own mind. Until we begin to treat these poor souls with the care they need, that specter will continue to haunt us. I committed this account to writing, so that the death of my brother might mean something. Let it bring about this change in our hearts. My brother could never have dreamed of such a legacy. that was the D Dynasty. Yay! Got away with murder 3 times in a row. I guess. Technically not. I didn't do it on the first try. Well, it was indeed a good attempt. I assume. That was the only 3. That was the only 3 adventures to this game, so this game's done. Thank you for watching me play these. Likely, very little people will actually watch these, but thank you for watching them if you did. I understand this is probably boring because it's just a script read. Thank you. I appreciate it very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day in the future. Until next time, may we see each other again, perhaps in better circumstance. Bye-bye.